dobber in die potholes. Johannesburgse strate het vanaand golwe. Gryp jou sweeftuig, jou styf vas. Plons, plons, stamp en swaai. Nog 'n as is oorlede. Arme ou Helens, hulle het met 'n glimlag getuimel in 'n slag het geval wat diep genoeg is om binne te swem. Kameras flits oral, sy het gewaai net soos 'n koningin. Rugslag in die pad gedoen, asof dit 'n oortoneel is. Die teer is heeltemal gekraak en verkrummel, die baanlyne het verdwyn. Jy het 'n bergreddingsspan nodig, wat net 'n rad oorskakel. Daar is taksies wat sinkheid ontwyk, soos 'n slalom afdraande wedren. En elke reënerige middag word 'n waterpark skande. Straatligte flikker, robotte dood, duisternis dans oor hoofse. Oor die kraag op wekkers gons, nog 'n kragonderbreking het uiteindelik gekom. Ons dobber in die slaggat, plons deur die pyn. Probeer om nie en nog 'n somerreën te hidroplaneer nie. Dobber in die slaggat, lag net om te hanteer. Sing deur die chaos terwyl ons aan 'n tou hang. Kan enigiemand die roep hoor? Voordat die hele ding begin ineenstort. Die treine ry nie volgens skedule nie, want die kabels is almal gekraak. Hospitaalplafonne lek terwyl die waglyne dik word. Elektrisiteit is 'n gerug wat 'n uur per dag verskyn, dan verdwyn soos touwerkrag wanneer die rekeninge betaal moet word. Intussen drink politici skemerkokkies by die see. Konvooie vlieg verby die skades wat nie die fooi kan bekostig nie. Die mense jaag eindeloos vir brood en gemoedsrus, terwyl beloftes van die parlement nog moeiliker word om te vind. Raadsale, hoeke, parlement, skelms en blinkklere. Safers wat stil maal, wonder hoe dat gebeur het. Ons dobber in die slaggat, het dryf deur die vloed. Probeer ons vaardigheid boer die stygende modderhou. Dobber in die slaggatte, alle klere langs mekaar. Swart en wit en bruin, saam op hierdie hobbelige rit. Almal voel spanning, dan skaalvoet in die reën. Die gangsters dra ontwerperspakke, of kruip weg agter amptelakke stewels. Sommige dra geweer, sommige dra stemme. Sommige glimlag net en maak al kele skoon. 32 lang jare verby, vra die mense steeds, hoekom? Vryheid moet nie verval beteken nie, of skraap net om elke dag te leef. MKC, emancipasie, mense roep, red dan die nasie. Vryheid van die eindelose gierigheid, vryheid beteken die mense lei. Ons dobber in die slaggatte, maar ons het nog nie verdrink nie. Het steeds ritme, het steeds vuur, het steeds onbetaalde skuld. Dobber in die slaggatte, sim hard en duidelik. Miskien as ons genoeg skree, gaan iemand hoor. Johannesburg verander, swembadens en strate. Dans op ineenstortende ritmes. Ons gaan steeds op een of ander manier voort. Suid-Afrika, ons het jou nou nodig. Plats, plas, stamp, stamp. Nog 'n band wat loskom, maar die musiek bly aanrol.
Monday, May 25th, 2026. Still Memorial Day here in the United States, just after 11 p.m., 2300 on the East Coast of the United States. And tonight the question we have to ask ourselves, are we at war again? Have we relaunched a campaign against Iran? The U.S. government claims it took defensive measures to protect troops from Iranian missile strikes. Interesting story. Were these strikes inbound or were these preemptive? If they're preemptive, it does raise the question, are we back in conflict now with Iran? And if so, has the clock restarted other 60 days or has it expired? These are questions for attorneys. These are constitutional questions that will likely find their way to the Supreme Court at some stage, particularly if these strikes continue throughout the night or tomorrow and the next day. But tonight, the world wants to know, is the United States at war with Iran or is it not? What is the situation in the Gulf? Can anybody answer that question? Well, it's hard to say. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's being reported in the mainstream media. CNBC says that the U.S. has conducted self-defense strikes in Iran as Trump tries to push for a peace deal. Strikes were to protect our troops from threats posed by Iranian forces. Those threats have always been there. The move comes as President Trump continues to try and push for a peace deal. Trump urged Arab nations to sign the Abraham Accords, an agreement that will normalize relations with Israel. That is probably a bridge too far to get that to happen. Interesting that they want that. U.S. Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire, said CENTCOM spokesman Tim Hawkins. The targets included missile launch sites and Iranian boats attempting to emplace mines. The action comes as President Trump said on Memorial Day that the talks with Iran were proceeding nicely. However, he warned that it will only be a great deal for all or no deal at all, threatening to take things back to the battlefront and shooting, but bigger and stronger than ever before. Fox News, citing U.S. senior officials, said on Monday the Iran deal was 95% complete. In a separate post on Truth Social, the president said Iran's stockpile enriched uranium will be immediately turned over to the United States to be brought home and destroyed in Iran or at another acceptable location. Iran is not signaling any awareness about that. West Texas Intermediate Light Crude down 5% to just $91.87 a barrel, but Brent crude went up 2% to $98. Doesn't matter what Iran does or doesn't have. It doesn't matter what the contours of the deal are. They just want the war over to bring petrol or gas prices down, said Chen Lan-He from Brunswick on CNBC's Squawk Box. The majority of Americans are saying they just want the war to be over. U.S. targets Iranian missile launch sites and boats in self-defense strikes, taking out boats and launch sites. Earlier, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. and Iran are working towards a memorandum of understanding, but disputes over language concerning Iran's nuclear program and the lithium sanctions have held up finalization. Well, those are two of the main reasons why this thing is happening. So if that's what's holding up the decision, then are we going to reach a decision at all? That's a good question. So are we at war? Are we not at war? I mean, you got to ask this question. U.S. forces are welcome to defend themselves, even in a preemptory strike, if it's apparent that the enemy is preparing to strike U.S. forces or attack them, then a preemptive strike is warranted, like Israel's Six-Day War in 1967, when the Arab nations were preparing to launch their attack against Israel. Israel caught them by surprise, destroyed all the Iranian forces, all the Arab air forces on the ground. The Egyptian Air Force destroyed on the ground. Virtually no aircraft got in the air. Jordanian, same thing. Syrian, same situation. The Israelis with the most amazing campaign, probably in the history of modern warfare, in a six-day war. Virtually destroyed their Arab neighbors, captured Samaria and Judea and Gaza, as well as the entire Sinai and the Golan Heights, in the most incredible outcome ever, the Six-Day War in 1967. Let's see who's in the chat tonight. Say hello to everybody here before we go any further. Don Janssen van Rensburg, Dylan Combrick, CBD, Alan McGill. Good event in Oklahoma Memorial Park. Huge police presence early morning with wreath laying by Governor Stitt. Flags at half-mast. Andre Mostart, so-called refugee. Emerencia Quinn, Angelique, Karen Lang. Are your cats up? Pat Schultz, Dylan Combrick, Andre Mostart, Utopi, Petrus van der Linde, Annelie Bornman, Lucinda Summers, Cecilia Kruger. Oh, this chat just jumped on me there. That's, you're watching 2C TV, okay. Well, he promised to go to South Africa to expose the racism there. When is he going? Anybody know when he's going to South Africa? Veroshka, good evening to you. How are you feeling this evening? Happy Chappy, welcome. Crystal Theon. CMD Prac. Alexia Evening. Alexia, who's Alexia? Is that someone you know? 1440. And no username. That's interesting. I'm sorry, it's not no username. It's Sun Janssen von Lensborg. Okay, sorry, just didn't show up in the first line. Cruiser Phoenix, Broken Arrow, Henry Swanepoel, Uncle Marty. Good evening to you. Gaijin Guru. Iran has been preparing for 50 years. I suspect the U.S. and Israel are using $1 million bomb to destroy dummy missile launchers. Well, Gaijin, you don't have a lot of confidence or faith in the U.S. intelligence system. I do. I'm very familiar with our intelligence capabilities, having spent 4 decades in the intelligence community working with all national agencies, from the tactical to the operational to strategic level intelligence, and I'm very confident that our capability when it comes to imagery is par excellence. And so you say that they're destroying dummy sites. The problem with that is we have footage showing actual launchers being destroyed, unless they're using AI, which I doubt. Sedgefield, welcome to you. Doesn't mean that they won't be able to snow us with some battlefield deception. Line in the Sand is back in from Namibia. How's it going there? Shawnee, what's going on? How's it up there in Minnesota, yeah? Good evening, Colonel, and all fellow Amerikaners. Good morning, all South Africans. Apparently, Sassels ramp up both over Secundant. Okay, all to produce petrol. Yeah, they need to. Yeah. Yeah, if you move to Texas, keep your coyotes inside, or keep your kittens inside because the coyotes are out and about. Yep. I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. And Guy Turner, welcome to you. Welcome to you. Yeah. So what was I just a moment ago? I was going to play something. It went right out of my head. I wanted to play something. We were talking about something, and it just went right out of my head. Interesting. Anyway, yeah, so that's the situation tonight. Who knows what's actually going on? It's pretty crazy. Let me just try something very quickly here and see what's being talked about now, if it'll come up here. They'll still rob you blind for petrol. No doubt about that. It's hot. I've been planting gardens every day. Oh, you watched Memorial Day Live in the replay. Okay, thanks, Shawnee. That was a short broadcast. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. Boy, my cable bill just keeps getting higher and higher. It went to 302, now it's 316, 318, now it's 324. I mean, this is during the billing cycle. I mean, what the hell kind of crap is that? Let me view my details and see what I'm paying for. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, jeez, come on. Yeah, well, my cable's expensive. Yeah. Regular monthly charges, $299.64. Fees, $24. Yeah, so let's see what I pay for. I pay $116.14 for video price. That select more includes basic, expanded basic, digital preferred tier, hard drive and DVR service, Pennsylvania state tax, $6. Broadcast TV fee is $36.15, even though I never watch 1 minute of network television. It's $36.15. Regional sports fee, which goes to ESPN, which I don't watch, is $14. I also pay ESPN to stream, and then they denied me my videos. I wasn't able to watch the other night. Select plus more is $112 on top of that. So cable's $116 plus another $112 for Pro Internet and Xfinity Voice Unlimited. Okay, that's for the Internet, $112. Peacock Unlimited, $0, but I will be paying next year. It's the end of my promotion, a year from now. Equipment, $71 a month for equipment. I pay $900 a year for their equipment, to rent their equipment, to use their frickin' service. What a crop. What a crop. PA state tax is $14 on those 4 items. I'm going to turn in 2 of those boxes because I've had enough of this crap. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Taxes and fees. I get a federal universal service fund, $2.27. Regulatory cost recovery, $5.15. A franchise fee of why am I paying a franchise fee? And franchise cost. Sales tax of $581. 911 fees, $1.95. $325. It's just unbelievable, folks. Absolutely unbelievable. It's just ridiculous beyond belief what they charge. And I'm tired of being robbed, and so I'm not going to put up with this for much longer. I'm just going to wind up. We all know what kind of trouble I've had with this internet service over the years. Only got repaired just back in September, October, finally. Coyote roller fencing to keep them off their property. Huh. $35 a month for Starlink. Yeah, but Starlink doesn't provide you telephone service, and it doesn't provide you television, does it? And before you tell me, oh, you just subscribe. Disney, $16. Netflix, $28. Amazon Prime, $179 a year. Hulu, $15 a month. You want to watch something, you have to subscribe to all of them. It costs more than the cable does. CMD says, thank you for your service. Oh, that's Alexia. Okay, that's who they're talking. Well, thank you. 1 megabyte or 1 gigabyte internet fiber is $40 in Texas with Spectrum. Well, yeah, but that's all you're getting is internet. Yeah. 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 Oh, I don't have time for cable. You're correct about that, but my internet service comes through that. And my other options is to sign up for fiber, and Verizon is terrible. Their fiber is no better than Xfinity's cable. Let me do a quick internet speed test and see what we're getting here tonight. Internet speed test. Let's see what it says. So I won't get the same upload speed because it's copper cable. It's actually a bit slow tonight. It's picking up. Should be 1 gigabyte per second download, and it's only about 650. That's low. Upload is about 27 megabytes. It's supposed to be 30. There it is, 31. Yeah, my download is slow tonight. I wonder why. 655 megabytes. You're very welcome, Alexia. It's my pleasure to have served. Yeah, 33 megabytes upload. That's good. Now with fiber, it's fiber optics, and it transmits more data over the light. And so with fiber, you get almost the same speed both ways. So if it's a gigabyte upload, it's a gigabyte download, which is pretty good. Oh, that's because they steal your copper. It's coax cable, which has copper inside. Yeah. But it's different. It's thicker copper than. But I was going to Xfinity for another reason. I wanted to check in on the news very quickly here. Watch TV online. Okay. Busy making a few mud crab traps. The blue crabs are okay, Sedgefield. They weren't so good the first couple weeks. Now they're better. I had 2 dozen yesterday. Mediums, but they're not really mediums. I'd call them small. Let's see. Okay. What do you mean subscribe? What the hell is this? I gotta subscribe to something. I already have it. Brett Bear's on now. Let's see what he's saying. Xfinity 320
finish to yesterday's Indianapolis 500. Did you see this? Plus tributes to NASCAR.
320 megabytes up and down, uncapped for $40 a month. Well, I pay $100 and some a month, and it's Xfinity for my internet alone. For months of pathetic service from Rain 5G, I complained ISPA and got my bill annulled in 3 months for internet. Well, that's pretty good to me. Well done. A hotel under construction in the Philippines has collapsed. China sends astronauts to its space station. The Chinese rocket, look at it, it's going in slow motion. They sent a woman up. Cut the cord, don't watch scripted TV, no subscription except Prime, saves a bunch. Yep. T-Mobile cell is $50 a month, unlimited data, unlimited calls. What the hell is this? The annual cheese rolling contest in England. Very stupid looking thing. Sarita, what's going on? What's going on? It's early morning hours in London. Pitch dark there. For some reason, they're looking in London. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, what they charge is absolutely ridiculous. So, but all these other services. So, I mean, Paramount Plus, Disney, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Peacock, it's insane. Plus, I'm already subscribed to ESPN services, which weren't being provided for me, even though I'm paying for them. And then also Flow Rugby, subscribe to that. So it's just the whole, they think it's your money one way or another. Ocular Smile, good evening to you. Not one for TV, okay. Okay. 50% likes. I didn't even look to see how many likes we had. Johannesburg is asking the council to approve a 3.8 billion rand loan from the Germans to fund power. They already haven't paid their debts. Now they want to borrow more money and burden the city with more debt. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? The city is scrambling to upgrade its aging power infrastructure amid threats by Eskom to pull the plug for its failure to repay its growing debt. So their answer to paying off the debt is to borrow another 4 billion rand. What a bunch of dumbasses. City of Johannesburg will today seek council approval for billions of rand in loan funding from German state-owned development bank. And it's a 15-year repayment for that 4 billion rands. Who would be stupid enough to loan the city of Johannesburg any money? The Kreditanstalt für Wiederaufbau. Wow, why is a German development bank, which is there for German infrastructure, why would a German infrastructure bank loan a South African bankrupt city that's collapsing 4 billion rand? Ask yourself that question. Why are the Germans loaning the South Africans money? And that bank is not to rebuild South Africa. It's not to rebuild Austria. It's not to rebuild Monaco. It's not to rebuild Thailand. It's to rebuild Germany. It's die Kreditanstalt für Wiederaufbau. Die Wiederaufbau von der Bundesrepublik Deutschland, nicht diese ausländische. Ach, Mensch, Meier, das ist ja ärgerlich. Ja, Kredit für die Südafrikaner. Das ist ja Wahnsinn. Wieso? Wieso sollen wir das Geld nach Afrika hinschicken? Das ist ja total verrückt. Quatsch. Scheiße. Ah, boy. The amounts borrowed by the city of Johannesburg under the loan agreement will be used towards financing city power electrical capital expenditure. I don't believe it for a second. City manager Floyd Brink said the loan will be at an indicative interest rate below the fixed rate of 9% per annum. 9%. Dear God. They're going to pay back 3 times as much money by the time it's paid off. Wow, that's just stupid. So I did see something interesting on X. I can't find it again here. It was fascinating. So it was from the Freedom Front Plus. They put an ad out, and they've got their campaign busy. And they said it's our time, essentially, and for which now Tom Eaton, the leftist hate wanker, is attacking them. Tom Eaton says Freedom Front Plus says it's our time to explain. No, no one needs to explain anything to you, leftist little hate wanker, and you so-called journalist, Tom Eaton. All you do is spew hatred in your little op-eds. How you get to be a columnist is ridiculous. I guess because you lick the leftist plate. Some will think the time has passed, but it's more complicated than that. The Freedom Front Plus has launched its new election campaign with the slogan, "It's our time," a confusing revelation to those who hadn't realized it was 1962. Wow, what a racist, arrogant, asshattery, left-handed, bullshitted, frickin' leftist, whiny, crybaby, hate wanker. What a bunch of nonsense. 1962. These unrepentant leftist racists that hate white people, self-loathing white people who hate white people. It's really, really sad to see. Others are reacting with less surprise and then with anger. In the last few days, I've seen online comments by some on the left bitterly claiming that older supporters of Freedom Front Plus already had their time holding the levers of power in South Africa and managed to produce nothing but a crime against humanity. Let go of your penis, you retards. Let go of your penis. While I appreciate the sensitivities around this, I must point out that these accusations are slightly unfair. The Mulder brothers might have been raised by B.J. Forster's Minister of Propaganda, the same B.J. Forster in 1942 declared that we stand for Christian nationalism, which is an ally of National Socialism. But when it came time for Peter and Cornette to make their own way in politics, they didn't follow their father Connie into the National Party. No, they went somewhere much more racist. Andres Trinish Conservative Party, which is split with the Nats because Trinish thought P.W. Botha was a pinko liberal who was about to usher in a nightmare world in which black people were allowed to eat their lunch in the kitchen rather than on the back steps. All of which is to say, I want to refute the claim that Freedom Plus helped run the apartheid regime. It didn't, mainly because some of its members were too right-wing for the apartheid regime. This guy is an unrepentant, race-hustling piece of shit, Tom Eaton. This one's over the top. This one's beyond the pale. I mean, he's a typical hate wanker who says disgusting, vile, repulsive stuff, and his race hustling is a self-loathing white person who hates white people and hates capitalism and hates democracy. But this one is over the top. This one here, if I were the Mulder brothers, I would take him to South African Human Rights Commission. I would take him to the Equality Court. I would sue him in civil court for defamation of character. He's calling them racist because his little wussy ass feelings are hurt because he's got nothing else to write about because he's a pathetic loser. That's right, I said it. Tom Eaton is a pathetic loser. Yep, you heard it here. Of course, this will be scant consolation for those South Africans who might be twitchy about allowing people to actively campaign against democracy in favor of white supremacy to get near the levers of power in African democracy. An African democracy. What is that? Black supremacy, Tom Eaton? Is that what an African democracy is? Black supremacy? Yeah, what democracy exists in Africa other than Botswana? Mauritius? Okay. Where else? Where else? Certainly not Morocco. Hard to call Nigeria a legitimate democracy. DRC is not a legitimate democracy. Maybe Kenya. But I can offer some solace, and that's to point out that Freedom for Plus' primary offering is the promise of campaign for the self-determination of Afrikaners and other ethnic minorities. When they say it's our time, they aren't announcing a plan to take over this country because their plan ultimately is to leave it, at least spiritually and politically. Now, see, that's absolute bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Let's go look up Freedom Front. Freedom Front Plus manifesto from 2024. Let's just take a look what their manifesto was, okay? All right, so this asswipe, Tom Dickweed Eaton, calls them racist. And he says they don't want to be part of the country politically or spiritually, but he's a lying sack of horseshit. Here's the manifesto from the national election in 2024. And this little turd, this little weasel boy, this is what their position was. Multi-party governments that keep the ANC out of power and restore the current decline. Does that sound like a group that doesn't want to be part of the country? A free market system facilitating restoring and rebuilding, establishing a small central government with a diminished role in citizens' lives, restoring local government, independent communities as building blocks, promoting communities' constitutional right to self-determination as the cement, abolishing legislation that discriminates based on skin color. Does that sound to you like a party that doesn't want to be part of what's going on? What part of hatred is made Tom Eaton such an evil, self-loathing, acidic, horrible human being? Wow. Wow. That's what's wrong with South Africa's so-called democracy. People like Tom Eaton and Carl Niehaus, Jacob Zuma, Julius Malema. Still, it's made me reflect once again on how strange it is that so many politicians associated with catastrophic ideological moral failures can not only linger in politics, but bustle about it in front of cameras. It makes me wonder how little retards like Tom Eaton, who have no skills, discernible skills whatsoever, are granted a column in a rag of a newspaper to spew racial hatred against his own citizens. It makes me wonder about that. Things that make you go, brightly telling us to get over their role in apartheid or the looting of the Zuma years, or in the U.S., their history as rapists or frauds. Instead, vote for them because it's time. It's different. See, you are a little piece of human excrement, Tom Eaton. Rapist. What rapist are you talking about? Is that an attack on Donald Trump, who's not a rapist, who was fraudulently accused of an act that wasn't proven in civil court, and a corrupt jury gave a civil victory to someone who exploited an unconstitutional law that was created specifically to create a fabricated lawsuit against Donald Trump, a law passed by the New York legislature, one person prosecuted over it in 12 months because the law lasts for 12 months, allowing people to file civil claims for an act that had passed the statute of limitations. There was no rape. You're a moron, a retard of the highest order, Tom Eaton. You're a dim-witted, stupid, and opinionated because you're a self-loathing white person. Why don't you just go dip yourself in a pile of horse shit so that you smell better than you currently do? Well, yes, they're going to self-deport or they'll be extradited back. But I would put them in prison in Florida first and make them serve their prison sentence because it wasn't until one-time shoplifting. It wasn't a misdemeanor. It was a grand larceny. They did it for months, and that's why the store waited, so they could get them for grand larceny. I don't understand why it's so warm in my house at 65 degrees outside. Suppose some of this result in political pragmatism, where winning a lasting peace is considered more important than outlawing and rooting out the belief systems almost destroyed the country. No, the belief system that's destroying the country is retards like Tom Eaton. That's the belief system that's destroying the country. Your black supremacist attitude is destroying the country. Your faux belief in leftist liberal garbage is what's destroying the country. Right now, you can go on to social media and find white South Africans who will tell you that apartheid could have worked if it hadn't been betrayed from the inside by Felictus. You can also find two-fisted hate wankers like Tom Wheaton talking about how evil white people are. What's your point? You can find Americans insisting the Nazis were socialists. They were, moron. National Socialism. National Socialism. Die Nationale Sozialistische Arbeitersparty. German Socialist Workers' Party. It doesn't get any more socialist than that. And that fascism, therefore, hasn't had a fair shout out. No, fascism is evil. But fascism is across the political spectrum. See, this dimwit, what are his credentials? Being an asshole? Is that his credential? I mean, is that what is that, hello, I'm Tom Eaton. I'm an asshole. Is that his credentials? Perhaps to some extent, the Freedom Front Plus is beneficial to the same sort of pragmatism that produced the spectacle seen in the United States between 1859 and 1866, where abolitionist John Brown caused the deaths of 17 people in a failed bid to end slavery and was hanged for treason, while Robert Lee, who led a pro-slavery rebellion that killed 365,000 Union soldiers, went free and became a symbol of American reconciliation. What the hell does that have to do with the Freedom Front Plus? John Brown was a treasonous person. He raided a military arsenal. See, this dipshit is selective in his history. John Brown raided a military arsenal, stole weapons from the government of the United States, and murdered American soldiers. That's why he was tried for treason. Not because he tried to free slaves. See, this retard doesn't know American history. If he knew American history, he would know about the Kansas Wars, and that John Brown was notorious for murdering innocent people and burning their homes who didn't even own slaves in Kansas. He was never tried for that. He was tried for invading, assaulting, occupying a military arsenal at Harper's Ferry. See, retards like this shouldn't be given a pen and a platform. Tom Eaton, what a stupid loser. Doesn't even he acts like he knows American history. He doesn't know anything American. He doesn't even know South African history. Jeez. Even the Germans understood that progress would be impossible if former Nazis were permanently excluded from the political process. By 1949, West Germany was costly returning the franchise to those who'd used it in 1933 to unleash barbarism in Europe. See, this is another retard, okay? Once again, dim-witted. So most of the people who got in power that were former Nazis weren't genuine Nazis. See, this little dipshit who lives in a country where his life isn't put in jeopardy if he doesn't join the ANC, yet thinks that he knows all about Germany. You don't know jack shit about Germany, buddy. Do you have family from Germany, Tom Eaton? I doubt it. I do. You have no idea what was going on in Nazi Germany. And the people who served in government, very few of them that were rehabilitated and brought back, had been members of the Nazi Party in 1933. Idiot. And they didn't bring back simply those people. Konrad Adenauer was never a member of the Nazi Party. No. Perhaps democracy must be fundamentally forgiving to keep it safe from becoming self-stifling. But perhaps we must also remember that bad ideas aren't necessarily erased from the world just because they're suffered failure or defeat. You're right. Communism and socialism are alive and well in South Africa, even though it's been proven over and over again to kill over 100 million people in the 20th century and failed everywhere it was tried. The Soviet Union, Cuba, Brazil, South Africa, China, North Korea, Vietnam, failed everywhere. All these people can and do vote, and that is how democracy works. But even as it endlessly renews itself, it also drags with it persistent, resistant relics of our past. And so when someone cheerfully announces that it's our time, those of us with long memories would do what? Long memories. You don't have a memory. You're dumber than a box of rocks. And your race hustling and your slander against The Mulder brothers, they ought to take them to court. Yeah, Adolf Hitler wasn't German; he was Austrian. Hello, Art Queen Liza. What is +3? Fascism is a far-right authority. No, it's not. It's not a far-right. See, that's bullshit. That sounds like a Wikipedia answer. Fascism is not a right-wing ideology. Fascism is fascism. Fascism is fascism. It is not right-wing. God damn, it's hot in my house. Excuse me for the language. Cooking in here. What the hell happened? My air conditioner, did it break? Phew. AI says it's far right. It's not far right. Core characteristics: extreme nationalism and ultranationalism. State and nation are placed above all else. That's communism. That's socialism. Dictatorial powers. That's communism. Militarism, violence. That's communism. Suppression of dissent. That's communism. That is not right. That is not right wing. How can they even claim it? That's cut from Wikipedia. That's why. It's not far right. See, stupid people. I mean, it just gives you the core characteristics: extreme nationalism and ultranationalism. That's not to the right. That's on all spectrum. Dictatorial power. It's across the board. Militarism and violence. It's across the board. And suppression of dissent. Those are the core characteristics of what a fascist state is, which represent the entire... Oh, I got to check the air conditioner. It's hot as hell in here. Must be me. Must be me. AC's on. Must be me. Yeah. This is because people think that Wikipedia is an encyclopedia and it's a trustworthy source. It's not. Yep. Yeah. Wikipedia is as reliable as ESCOM. No media coverage to white people killed in the Kruger National Park. Yeah, no, there is media coverage of it. I've covered the story, and because I found it in the media. It's been reported in all the media. What are you talking about? There's no media coverage of it. The parade was okay, Karen. It went well. Exactly, Crystal. Communism ignores basic human incentives. And its political structures lead to authoritarianism. 100% correct. Yeah, he's not smart enough to know what Nazi means. What a sad, pathetic little hate wanker. I bet he went to UCT. He's one of South Africa's most prominent newspaper columnists, known for his cricket writing. Oh my goodness. Oh, this guy. He's a piece. Oh, I've had about enough of his nonsense. Let's see what he's got to say on X. He's on Blue Sky. Well, that tells you all you need to know about him. He went to Blue Sky. 108,000 followers, and he says, I'm going to Blue Sky. And he hasn't posted since 2024. So he went to Blue Sky 2 years ago, which has nobody on it, and gave him 108,000 subscribers on X. That's how demented leftist he is. So he hasn't been on X in 2 years. Yet when you look at his profile on Times Live, they still tell you to connect X. And it takes you to an account he hasn't used in 2 years. He's such a committed leftist hater that he goes to a defunct, deadbeat, useless website, Blue Sky. Blue Sky. Oh my goodness. Nobody reads that crap. Wow. Oh my goodness. What a pathetic loser. Good morning, Teresa. Yeah, they're from the Western Cape. Yep. I have good AC, broken arrow. It's just, I think it's me, actually. I think I'm going through menopause or change of life or some nonsense. Anyway. Yeah, you're right. The temperature on my clock is usually at 21. It's too high now. It's at 23. Yeah, it's too warm in here. It's too warm in here. Yep. There you go. See, I told you I don't like temperature, man. I'm not a summer person. When I was in Texas, it was 95 degrees. It was too much. Then I went down friggin' Florida. I went to Texas in February. It was 95 after they had ice the week before. And then I went to Florida. It was 95. When I came back to Pennsylvania, it was 57 degrees. Tonight, it's 65. Yeah, this morning it looked like the parade was not going to pan out because what happened was we had lots of rain. It was supposed to rain for 5 days straight, and it rained quite a bit. And then it was just a light drizzle this morning. Nothing. Then light drizzle. Went to the cemeteries. We do 19 cemeteries where we do a salute, and we went there. And when we got the last few cemeteries, the rain started and got pretty heavy. We got soaked. So we checked the forecast as we came back, and it said at 9 o'clock it was a 91% chance of rain, and it was raining. And by 9:45 there would be no rain. 10 o'clock a 10% chance, 11 o'clock 4%, noon 0%. And there was fog everywhere. Visibility was down to a couple hundred meters, and the fog was pretty low. The ceiling was just, maybe 60 or 80 feet off the ground, 20 or 30 meters. That's how much fog, and it was everywhere. So by 9:20 the rain stopped. By 9:45 it was clearly stopped. By 10 o'clock I saw a little bit of cloud break in the distance about 30 kilometers away, and then a little bit of sun peeking through. By parade time, the sun hadn't come out, but the rain had completely stopped. The streets were starting to dry already. We did the parade. When the parade was over, I got back to the VFW, and the sun was out. Actually, the sun came out before we went on the parade. Yeah, I went and had to get my sunglasses out. It's 30 degrees in the UK, no aircon in the studio. Well, the guy makes millions of dollars. Why doesn't he just go pay for aircon? Why doesn't he just pay for aircon? Boy, that's cheap. I mean, he's making millions. I mean, 2C TV's making millions, probably tens of millions, especially with Iran. The Iran war is the best thing that could ever happen for that guy. So let me see. By the way, he obviously has no interest in talking to me because I've never heard from the guy. A lot of you keep asking. He has 1.6 million subscribers. Okay, let me just tell you. So he's got 330,000. He got 1 million views on a video. When I get 100,000 views, that's $150 to $300 in advertising revenue. And most of my audience is overseas. Most of his is in the U.S. So with a million views, mostly, say 500,000 views in the U.S., okay? 500,000 views in the U.S. I have like 20,000 views in the U.S., but when I have a 100,000 view video. He has 500,000 views in the U.S., and it's probably more than that. He made on that video alone easily a few $1,000s just in that one video. Another one, 944,000. Another one, $1 million. We're talking $12,000. That's all in 1 month. $12,000 just from 3 videos. Just from 3 videos. So 6 hours ago, he had 338,000. That's at least $500 he made minimum, probably $1,000 in advertising he made off that one. A day ago, 480,000. That's probably $1,500. And then 2 days ago, 507,000. That's probably $3,000. So that's $5,000 in 3 days off advertising minimum. That never doesn't even count his memberships and all this other stuff. Yeah, yep. In fact, let me just do a check and see. I'm going to check on something. View stats. Let me see. Let me look at this and see what it says. So 2CTV has 1.6 million subscribers, 841 million views. He's down. Wow, he's down the last month. He's dropped a lot. He was down by almost half. And he lost 40,000 subscribers in the last month. Wow. He makes $55,000 to $153,000 per month, and he can't afford an air conditioner. $55,000 a month, and he can't afford air conditioning. Come on, man. Yeah, his channel has lost interest because the Iran thing is over. But I mean, he still does incredibly well. 22 million views in a month. I'll take that. Gaining 20,000 subscribers. He didn't lose subscribers, but he made 60,000 the previous month. So he gained 20,000. Yep. He has more videos than me, but then that's because his channel was never taken away. Yeah, his channel was getting about 15 million views a month, consistently dropped to 11 million, down to 11 million in December, and then Trump, 46 million in January, then 23 million in February, but then in March, 54 million because of the war, and now it's back down to 39 million. Yeah. Back in June last year, he gained 264,000 subscribers in 1 month. Wow, kill for that. He makes about 20,000 a month in a slow month. 10,000 is worst month November and December. He got 150,000 January, 30 February, 110,000 March. Yeah, must be nice. Must be nice. But I don't understand how he doesn't, he can't afford air conditioning. I mean, come on. Come on, dude. You can't afford air conditioning? Give me a break. That's not even possible.
The border wall. It's time for a change in Texas.
President Trump endorsing Ken Paxton. AP writes it this way: although many of the counties Trump won in 2024 with 80% or more of the vote are rural and sparsely populated, collectively they made up about a fifth of the GOP primary vote. Again, this is in Texas. Paxton beat Cornyn in these counties 45.
Well, tomorrow is the primary in Texas, and he's going down. Paxton is done. Yeah, that's why we have daylight savings, Vanessa, and it seems like all Congress wants to stop it from happening. Yeah. Mr. Beast and ad revenue, oh, I can only imagine. Let's just see what his channel does. View stats. He's got 3 channels, 469 million subscribers, 56 million, and 54 million. Let's go to his main channel. His main channel, he's got 490 million subscribers, 1.24 billion views. He got 5.18 billion views in last month, 11 million subs. He makes between $1.7 million and $4.8 million a month. So let's say he makes $4 million a month. $4 million a month. That's $48 million a year. Just from this. Yep. I don't know what the appeal of Mr. Beast is. I don't find him all that interesting. I really don't find him all that interesting. But people love it. No, that's their cup of tea. They're welcome to love it. And I have 126,000. Million plus views usually use shock value through unethical means such as exploiting others. That's true, Crystal. That's true for many of them. Unless they're entertainment. Some are entertainment. Some of these videos that tell history are pretty darn good. Yeah, let me find a Freedom Plus because they made that video. It's our time. "44 watchers here do not appreciate this channel." What does that mean? You talking about likes or something like that? No, that doesn't mean people don't appreciate it. Some people don't know how to hit the like button. We were at 151 and we dropped to 132. YouTube's data is not very reliable when it comes to this stuff. I got the camels in the morning, folks. Where the heck I was just at? I just lost where I was at. There it is. That's what I want. Okay, so... Oh, Mr. Wonderful's got something to say. He said, "We uncovered something far bigger than I ever expected after seeing coordinated false attacks against the Utah Data Center project. We brought in an advanced data science team to trace where the content was coming from, and the results were shocking. What we found led back to organized networks, political activist groups, and funding trails tied to massive international entities. We dug through IRS 990 filings, tracked IP data from around the world, and uncovered what appears to be a coordinated campaign targeting energy and data center projects across multiple regions. I shared 90 pages of evidence with federal law enforcement and raised concerns directly with contacts in the White House. This isn't speculation. The filings, funding records, dates, and connections are documented. There's a coordinated PR war happening around energy infrastructure and data centers. We're not going to ignore it." Yes, because they want America to be left defenseless and blind and poor. He's wearing flip-flops in his studio? I'm sorry. I can't respect that, Mr. O'Leary. That's ridiculous. So this is Miss Wayne County. I presume this is in Indiana. I'm not sure. Miss Wayne County. Yeah, I'm sorry. Then a faith that diametrically opposes America can't. That's. What is this? Nick Sorter is saying that DHS is letting every vehicle leaving their facility be searched by leftists. What the hell? This is real.
We're recording in case there's violence. We're not.
Arrest them.
Yep. Wait. We'll let them out as long as we can make some money. Please, let's see. It's good. Okay, right. Make sure to let them go.
Okay. What the hell is going on? The Department of Homeland Security letting these people do this? Oh, this is ridiculous. Minnesota watched a Somali man walk free after a jury convicted him of stealing $7.2 million in taxpayer. The jury called the evidence overwhelming. The judge overturned the verdict. If it was a unanimous conviction, it can be thrown out. Justice is dead. Wow.
At the August trial for Abdi Fattah Youssef, the jury heard evidence that he ran his home health care company, Promise Health, out of a mailbox at a Central Avenue address where multiple other home health care companies were supposedly located. Youssef and his wife, Lol Ahmed, were charged.
And so his verdict was overturned by a corrupt judge. Yeah, what is going on with this kid in school who threatens to shoot at teachers and brings a gun to school? Yet, anyway, I'm not getting into it. I don't like this. So President Trump met 6-year-old Christian Jacobs, showed President Trump the grave of his father at Arlington.
This is him. Yeah, and a lady gave me the pillow. And here's a picture of him.
That's from his first term because he's got, that's old. These people are recycling. That's the result. I mean, that's you can see him there. He's with frickin', Mike Pence. That's from the last time around. So, guys, his bike's stolen. It's traced it down to a house. The bike's been there for over 12 hours, but listen to how the police acted and the attitude. They say they can't do anything because the back gate is open. There's no other evidence. Then he argues with the man who clearly just wants justice restored. The British police, an absolute joke. Yep.
Goes to a car pound. However, if no forensics come back, then we still don't have a suspect.
So the fact that
he's not even British, he's some Arab.
Yeah? The fact that I have stolen goods on my property doesn't necessarily mean I stole it.
It's in a part of the property that anyone could access because it's a side gate with no secure entrance.
It's inside this woman's property. Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it was stolen. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not. I've said to you already. Of course, your bike's been stolen.
No, I'm listening.
We're not debating the fact that your bike's been stolen.
So the bike is stolen, yeah?
Yeah, you've reported it stolen.
Okay,
if you're not,
stolen.
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's that. We have an agreement on that.
We're not disputing the fact that your bike's been stolen. What we're disputing is at the moment, we have no evidence of who's stolen the bike.
It's right there. You can see the frickin' registration plate on it. The gate's open, and this Arab isn't even gonna. Oh, good God. Wow. Wow. Inequality in South Africa is not only a phenomenon between race groups. Evidence from the post-apartheid period shows that intra-race inequality has grown at a rapid rate, and by 2009, intra-race inequality exceeded inter-race. In 1993, inequality within race groups accounted for 48%. By 2008, they increased to 62%. Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yesterday, and I went to.
Yeah, this is good. So the Minister of White Agriculture, Martin Feinstein, says farmers and organizations had a rapport with Steenhuisen. They had a good working relationship, and then with no mandate from his voters, the law, or a national organization, he declared war on them for no good reason. Why has he not been recalled? Yeah, Francois Rousseau posted this video showing Johnny Steenhuisen in Parliament. He lost this case. He was an arrogant asshat. This prick needs to be removed from office. He needs to go. He needs to go. And this is edited. They put all the stuff in there to make the faces.
They went to court. They went to court yesterday.
And they won.
And let me tell you, the Honourable Trollope was singing their praises in the committee yesterday. And what did they get? They didn't get a single one of the prayers that they asked for in court yesterday.
What an arrogant asshat this guy is. And I can tell you personally, I've had personal interaction with Johnny Boy Steenhuisen. He's an arrogant asswipe. Really is rude and disrespectful and so full of himself. And he'll get his comeuppance one day. One day. A man who can't pay a basic credit card bill is likely to dip his fingers in something at some point. We'll see. Yeah, no, that guy is the most arrogant prick you're ever going to find, and is responsible single-handedly for the demise of the Democratic Alliance, a party that should have been over 30% in the elections 2 years ago. But because of his failed leadership or lack thereof, when he's busy stuffing his gullet and not doing his job and not paying his Uber Eats bill, yeah, yep. Good night, Andre. Yep. Johnny Boy Steenhuisen. On his farm, Vihok, in the Sheepmoor area of Mpumalanga, at 10 June 2019, 67-year-old Mulman Meyer, who'd worked the same land for 50 years, was hacked to death with a panga. The attack was savage. He suffered deep hack wounds all over his head, body, and arms. He desperately tried to defend himself. There were severe defensive injuries between his fingers, where he raised his hands to protect his face and head. His body was also struck with a large rock found near a tractor on the farm, with his blood spattered across the vehicle. These personal up-close attacks leave families and communities unimaginable pain. Mulman was a hardworking man who simply wanted to farm land he loved. Yep. Masked Islamists in Montreal paraded a Jew being hanged through the streets. Yep. Get every single one of these terrorists out of the West. Enough of this. Yep. Yep, they have a Jew hanging, and they're wearing masks, marching around in Montreal. Wow. The Democratic Party is to leave their vile and disgusting Memorial Day post politicizing the death of American heroes against Trump. So this is what the Democrats ran. They're disgusting fools. Trump's war with Iran. They're disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Trump didn't start this war. Jimmy Carter did. He's responsible.
Yeah.
My uncle.
500 million rand spent on cars. It pays to be an ANC cater.
Yeah.
My uncle.
Yeah, your uncle. Your uncle, yeah. Hey, brother, yeah.
My uncle. My uncle.
Your uncle.
His uncle owns all these cars, stealing from the people of South Africa.
My uncle.
Your uncle.
My uncle.
Your uncle.
Yeah.
Our uncle.
Our uncle.
Our uncle.
She died.
Thieves.
Yes.
Corrupt thieves while people starve. Only 2 of South Africa's most valuable companies were founded after 1994, and none since the ANC's race laws became law. His black pastor went off, and now they're angry at him. John Cleese. Wow, John Cleese weighs in. This is the right to criticize religion as part of British culture. Criticism of Islam is Islamo-skepticism, not Islamophobia. Phobias are irrational fears like arachnophobia, fear of spiders, or in the case of Islam, fear of dogs and pigs. Calling skepticism or criticism a phobia is a misuse of English language. Yep. Yeah, that's from John Cleese. Well said. Yeah, Democratic congressional candidate Mai Fang, who turned her back on the Pledge of Allegiance and during a council meeting. She's running for Congress. Her parents were saved by America as refugees. She thanked us by refusing the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag, even admitted to doing so openly, posting, "I choose not to recite the Pledge of Allegiance during every council meeting. I use that moment to ground myself, to center our communities, to remind myself of injustice." She needs to go. This woman is a piece of human sludge and shouldn't be in this country. Watch this.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Why do we let this little cow be in our country, let alone elect her to office?
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What a piece of human sludge.
Very much, and Madam Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely.
This person, you know, the people openly hate this country, and retards elect them to office. Yes, and people voted for her. People voted for Ilhan Omar. Do you know that most of the people voted for her are white? White Christians in Minneapolis voted for that scumbag. Yep. Nope. I live in a small city in Ireland with a population less than 70,000. But even a 5-minute walk to a local shop, I see more non-Irish people. Don't recognize my country anymore. Yep, this is Ireland. This is Ireland. This is what they've done. They've given their country away.
Living in Ireland be like, my God. Seriously, what country am I in? Like, this is mental.
No Irish. No Irish in Ireland. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is expected to permanently cut off U.S. aid to Somalia after the country demolished a warehouse holding 76 tons of American food. Foreign aid is not charity. Yep. Taxpayer money.
Of our foreign policy, and it should be used for the purpose of furthering the national interest. That doesn't mean we don't care about human rights. That doesn't mean we don't care about starvation. That doesn't mean we don't care about hunger. That doesn't mean we don't care about humanitarian need. What it does mean, however, is that even foreign aid, which is not charity, it is an act of the U.S. taxpayer. Now, American charities are free to give their money to whoever they want, as long as it's not a sanctioned entity. But the United States and the taxpayer money should be spent in furtherance of our foreign policy, should be spent in places and on things that further our foreign policy, and even that is not unlimited. We have a limited amount of money that we can dedicate to foreign aid and humanitarian assistance, and that has to be applied in a way that furthers our national interest, and that's what we have sought to do as well.
Exactly. We've been giving money away and we've been fools. It's been used against our country. Well, let's see what Ronnie Lamolla's got to say. Let's see if we can stomach this for a few seconds. Ronnie Lamolla talking at SADC in Habaroni.
I am engaging with my counterpart. I also know that...
Doesn't he sound like he's perpetually drunk? I'm engaging with my counterpart.
That my counterpart from Ghana was also here, but also some of
The foreign policy of the African National Congress is a black supremacy foreign policy. But yes, it's a black supremacist foreign policy. I believe so.
The SADC foreign ministers have raised the issue with me, particularly Malawi, who were affected mostly of their citizens. And we continued to assure them that as the South African government, we condemn any form of attack against foreign nationals. It is, in terms of our law, only the police can enforce the law. Only law enforcement like border management, responsible for migration, labor inspectors are the ones that are supposed to enforce the law. And any private citizen doing so is doing illegal. We do have a challenge of illegal or irregular migration, illegal documented or undocumented foreign nationals in the country.
I can't take much more of that. This guy's a dim one. Trump just canceled Pride Month. Is this real? Or is this a joke? I don't know. Is this fake?
My fellow Americans, it is with great pleasure that I am announcing that Pride Month is canceled.
That's AI. That's AI. That's AI. On 11 November 2018, near Lanseria, Johan van Wyk and his fiancée Hanli Barnard were on their porch with their blended family when 5 armed attackers struck. He bravely pushed Hanli inside to protect. The attackers shot him 9 times, blowing off his fingers as he pushed the gun away from his head, then hitting his chest and lower body. Of the 25 shots were fired in total, Hanli saw blood spraying from him like a garden hose. He survived the initial attack but suffered months of terrible complications and hospital stays. The wedding was postponed twice. He passed away on June 25th of 2019 from those injuries. Yeah. Yep. Hi. Newly hidden FBI documents released by FBI Director Kash Patel confirm not only the FBI staged January 6, 5 months before it happened, while the DNC planned to overthrow the U.S. government if Trump won, provoke a breakdown on January 6 to disrupt proceedings, prevent the vote from going through. But Christopher Wray also had 274 federal agents embedded at the official proceedings on January 6 and had federal agents infiltrating chat rooms months before January 6, orchestrating the overthrow. That would explain why they destroyed Parler. Parler reported to the National Counterterrorism Center and to the FBI on Boxing Day that there were people in their chat who were saying things talking about causing problems on January 6th. They reported that to the National Counterterrorism Center and the FBI. I'm sorry, they reported before Christmas, like on the 18th of December. On Boxing Day, the FBI wrote back and said, "Thank you for your cooperation. We have a few questions." That was on Boxing Day. Then nothing. The FBI and the National Counterterrorism Center were aware that there were people that were planning to take action on January 6th, and they took no action to stop them. And Parler was deplatformed by Amazon and Jeff Bezos, a leftist hate wanker of note who owns the Washington Compost, a Trump smear machine. So what is going on here? Was Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post and Amazon in league with corrupt FBI and Nancy Pelosi to undermine this democracy? Wow. Chris Wray was not only involved in the actions of January 6th and within, he had over 200 agents embedded dressed as Trump supporters before the doors opened. I told you that. See, I told you that. As a counterintelligence agent, a former federal law enforcement official, badge credential, I sent the FBI photographs of the people who were acting strange that day right in front of the stand. And I was never contacted by the FBI. Why? Because they didn't want footage. They didn't want that. Probably because I exposed feds. in that video. Wow. Wow. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. Wow. Can you believe this? I can. That's just, I'd say it's shocking, except it's not. It's not shocking. I got to go back. I've still got that live. Let me see. Oh, that's not it. It feels warm in here, though. I know I said it's not, but come on. Where the hell's it at? It's not here. Did I already close it? Huh. Oh, there it is, Fox News. Okay. That's the 5.
What did you...
Oh, it's the 5. We close that. Okay, so I don't need 2C TV here anymore either. Or Mr. Beast, and get rid of those. When you track the next threads, yeah. So let me go to my channel. I want to see something on my channel here. So this was my video. Oh, is this? No, that's not it. That's not the one I want. Shoot. I had this thing. Huh. That's... I can't find the video I have, but this is not it. Eyewitness accounts. This one I did a year after it happened. This is one I did a year after. Wow, look at this beard, man. Okay, you ready for this? Hey, Toast, thanks for the 100 Rand super sticker. Including the Trump rally, which honestly I didn't even know about until shortly before that, and then the effort by Americans to make their voices be heard, seeking a right of redress, which is being lied about, especially in the Washington Compost today, endlessly by people who are main phone. So prepare that Donald Trump colluded with Russia, and you had the proof.
Here as I spin around as the nation's capital, where the weak, callow members of the House and the Senate today will most likely vote to enshrine the plagiarist in chief as the next president of the United States. But here we are in the mall, and I just thought I'd give you a little bit of update since obviously YouTube and or T-Mobile are suppressing the network connection. I had a perfect connection 2 miles from here. I was able to live stream, but now I can't. But let me take you around.
Because they were insurrectionists. Not because they carried their food or their water and they were going to spend hours standing in the cold weather. There's the Washington Monument up there. Not because they went to a rally. And they used the example of something I talked about that day. People were so enthusiastic to see President Trump that what they did is they took their backpacks, because you weren't allowed to enter with a backpack, just like entering any facility. You can't go to stadiums with a backpack anymore. You can't go in federal buildings. Trump is speaking, saying they got 12 million more people to vote for him than 4 years ago. Constitution Avenue, this is where the president's at. Now you'll see people walking on the right-hand side in an open space there in a snake line of a queue doing this. They're coming forward and they toss their bags here. They abandoned their personal items on the hope that someone wouldn't steal it and they'll be able to cover it. That's how desperate they were to hear the President of the United States speak. This has been turned into a fraudulent lie by the Washington Compost, which, by the way, I paid for a subscription yesterday. They're so desperate for subscribers, the Washington Compost, that they offer me 1 year of all access digital content for $10 US. So many people, so many people. All right, let me jump ahead a little bit more here, folks. Cold plus the wind was blowing. By the way, to the left-hand side, that's where people were dropping trowel and peeing right over. It's at about 1:30 now. You see the gay pride flag? Yeah, lots of homosexuals were out there supporting Trump that day. Does that look like a violent attempt to overthrow the U.S. government? No. But I can show you one stupid operational thing. You see underneath my picture on the left-hand side, that tower? They didn't secure that tower. And they put their barrier up there, and they were bicycle racks, not actual barriers. Traitors. Our house, somebody shouted. Wait, there you go. There you go. You see that? See that guy right there? That's one of the plants. Hang on. Our house, somebody shouted. Right here, watch. See the guy right there with the backpack, the tan backpack, and the camouflage? That's one of the plants. And the guy with the mask and the body armor on and the red sleeve, these were planted people in the crowd. Wait, there you go. There you go. You see that? You see that? Hold on. Okay, you see that? One of the instigators, the guy shows up with a mask on. That's one of these people started showing up around this time, and I started to get very suspicious about what's going on here. If you saw him walk through the crowd, he had a mask on to protect him from CS. Protesters don't show up like that. These were people in the crowd intentionally. Do you see the cops? They're wearing bicycle helmets and beanies. Guy in the blue, bicycle helmet. Over here, not even a helmet, just a beanie. Here, bicycle helmet, bicycle helmet, bicycle helmet, bicycle helmet. Over to the left, that's the riot guys who finally came down. They're trying to get people set up. That's what was happening. Yep. This is almost 2:30. It's about 2:15, 2:20 right here. An hour and 15 minutes after the crowd shows up. The tactical plan of the Capitol. Does that look like a violent overthrow of the U.S. government? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Police is something that should have gotten them who committed crime. Anyway, look at that beard. That was epic. Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to find out where the heck. So that's not the one I was looking for. I had this 34-minute video on here. Huh. Don't know where it's at. There it is. January 6, 2022. This is the footage. Okay, so I did this one here. This doesn't have many views. How many views? A couple hundred maybe? 183 views. Wow. The insurrection that was in Capitol Revisit with raw footage from January 2021. Hello, folks, and welcome back to Indaba, Africa. This is Chris in central Pennsylvania. What you're about to see is approximately 30 minutes of unedited raw footage from the events that unfolded last year at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia. You'll see a dearth of police presence. You'll see a ludicrous system of barriers that wouldn't stop a toddler, let alone a crowd of people. You also see some inappropriate behavior by some people in the crowd saying, F the police. And you may hear some of us telling them to knock it off because we don't accept their behavior. We don't have issues with law enforcement. That's not what this was about. It was about seeking a right of redress and airing grievances before the government, which is constitutionally guaranteed under the First Amendment, as is freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. All lawful actions taken this day when permits were issued by the Capitol Police for multiple protests to take place at this facility. In the face of multiple protests and the likelihood there would be hundreds of thousands of people present on the mall that day, the Capitol Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the National Counterterrorism Center, the legislative branch all chose to ignore, as well as the mayor of D.C., Muriel Bowser, ignore what was happening. She made a big show of calling out the National Guard, but only brought up 100 members of her 2 p.m. Say, gay crowd in support of Donald Trump. These flags were everywhere. All right, you see the cops? Bicycle helmets. No cops covering that. And those are bicycle racks. Bicycle racks. That's not security. This is a joke. Look at the people up on the tower that they erected for the TV cameras. A joke. You see that guy right there? They had just, right there, they had just used CS. And Kamala Harris said if black people had been out there, they would have been tear gassed. Well, the white people, mostly white people in this crowd, were tear gassed repeatedly. So she's full of crap. I was there, I observed it. Can't stop us all!
It's a fucking shit show!
This doesn't really help our cause.
Doesn't really know, but God, I'm pissed off, man. Who's willing to die?
Who's willing to die? Not you, wuss. You're not in uniform. That was one of the FBI instigators. See them? See him? With the mask on there and the Kevlar? Who's, if you're not willing to die? I also saw the other federal agents who were there trying to exhort the crowd, the black guy, trying to get people riled up, and they all looked at him like he was a retard. No, it was clear what was going on that day. If you watched my stream that occurred that day, I absolutely went ballistic that day and said that this was a false flag operation before anyone else made that claim. When I left D.C. that day and I drove back, I pulled over because Ronaldo told me that Trump had won on X and told people to leave the Capitol building. Like, they went in the Capitol building, and explains why they were doing a lockdown of the city and a curfew. And I stopped at the Costco in Frederick, Maryland, and I went off with profanity. I said this was a false flag operation. It's pretty obvious. I don't know who was responsible. I can't say, but it's clearly a false flag. 2 interviews. Good luck, Veroshka. Have a good night. Yeah. Do you have transport to your interviews? Veroshka, do you have transport? Now, all the famous people weren't where I was at. This was on the south side of the Capitol building. The tower is in the middle, and the other end is the north side. That's where Alex Jones and all these famous people were. I didn't see any of those people there.
Here's your revolution!
Well, that's it. Wow, looks like a very dangerous overthrow operation here, doesn't it? So you can see right there within your view 10,000 people, and less than 1,000 people entered the building. And there's 10,000 people there. That's just a tiny fraction of the crowd. What a crock. What an absolute crock. The whole lie, the whole narrative. On my dashboard to do a live stream because I had a signal once again, and I could tell people what had happened. As I was about to go live, I received a text message, emergency notification, that there was a curfew. Yeah, that only has 183 views. Can you believe that? 183 views from 4 years ago. That's how little people care about it. Democrats thought they latched onto something big and important. They didn't. They didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't latch on to anything. They just thought they did, and they didn't accomplish anything. They're just a bunch of fools. Yep, just a bunch of fools. Anyway, if anybody wants to go watch all of that, there's the link. It's only got 180. Can you imagine? I was doing this for 200 and 300 views on videos, spending hours doing this. And here I am, not getting 100,000 views, and I'm bummed out on a video. Yep. Karen, you been around that long? You watched that? Wow. Okay, Varoshka's got a ride. That's good. Okay, cool. Situation in Kenya, it's not good. People got killed in demonstrations. The government caved to the violent demonstrators. They give them what they wanted. So, yep. Yep. Anyway. Gosh, it is warm in here. Hey, Rudolph, what's going on? Oh, excuse me. Anyway. All right, it's 12:30. And we've got the camels coming up in a number of hours. I'm going to make a video tonight if I have time here when I'm done. You guys, thanks for being here. Hit the like button if you don't mind. And I'll catch you later in the day, okay? Cheers. Good luck to your interview there, Varoshka. Bye-bye.